everyone, thanks again for tuning in to Sin's Workshop. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Today we're going to be talking about The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. This is a story not only about, witches, but it's also about climate change. And I really do think that this novel was important to read for a lot of many different reasons. So I really have to applaud Griffin on her world building. Because here, witches coexist with non-witches. Their existence is well known. They work in tandem with scientists when it comes to dealing with the planet and nature, really. Again, climate change. You don't have to be born from witches to be a witch. Our main character, Clara, her parents were non-witches. They were non-magical folk, no mages. And she's the Ever-Witch. Basically, what that means is her power exists throughout all the seasons. Now, here you have the witches themselves. They are grouped by seasons. You're born in a particular season. So summer, fall, winter, spring, you have certain control over certain aspects of the weather. Summer, they can call down storms and they can control storms quite well in their season. Spring, tornadoes. If there's a tornado and they can stop it, they do what they can to stop it. Autumn, harvest. Just think of the harvest, and then winter. Blizzards. So they have certain power over their particular seasons. Now, once their season ends, their power does diminish, so their power rises as it gets closer to their season and then diminishes. So if you're winter, you're going to be your least powerful in summer, and vice versa. That's how it works. I do like how that balanced out the story really well, because a reason a lot of the witches are dying is because they are trying to work outside of their season. You've got winters trying to work in spring or summer to try to break something down, a horrible weather catastrophe, put down fires, call down rain. So it is really challenging because it does lead to a lot of them becoming depleted and, dying, because they're trying to overcompensate their power, dealing with all these natural catastrophes that are happening. Floods, wildfires, a lot of the things that we see on the news, in California right now. I really wish we had summer witches, to call down the rain, to put out those fires right now. So the novel really makes you think about nature and climate change and pollution, because it's one of the themes that goes throughout the story. The witches acknowledge they failed by letting themselves be swept up in this idea of progression with the nomad, I know I'm using Rowling's term, with non-magical folk, and they're realizing too late, no, we probably should have put a stop to this. We probably should have just, let nature run its course naturally instead of forcing everything. So now we're seeing, massive wildfires, again, everything that we're seeing in today's society. A lot of natural catastrophes, and it's really heartbreaking, because there is a cause and there is an effect. So they're seeing the damage, and they're trying to work with the non-magical folk to undo the damage as best as they can. And Clara, she's the only Ever-Witch. She's the last one was born in the 1800s, I believe. And that's it. And what an Ever-Witch is, like I said, her power changes throughout the season. So her power never diminishes. It just stays. She has control over all the seasons, and she can use other seasons she can use the power of other seasons outside of their season. So she can use winter's power. She can utilize it outside of winter, like in summer. So she's really very powerful. However, no one really knows how to deal with the power of an Everwitch. So they're kind of working in the dark to help her, to guide her. Because, of course, they do go to a school for witches, of course, to harness their power and help them deal with, harvest and honing their abilities to, like saying he wants to work in botanics. So he's trying to find a way to grow plants outside of their season to make them flourish, to also pluck them without, completely killing them from the roots down. So he's actually kind of a genius. I like saying he's a good character. And no one knows how to deal with her, with her power. The problem is her power is also, like I said, she's incredibly powerful. Sometimes when she's using her power, she feels as if she doesn't temper it down, and this is because it's happened, it will launch out of her and just strike down the closest thing she cares about, what's something she has an emotional attachment to. Her power, unfortunately, took her parents' life and her best friend's life. So she just lives with all of this guilt and hate, and she just wants rid of it. She's like, I just want to be stripped of this magic. And she makes this promise. She's like, all right, if you guys don't help me get control of this magic by the solar eclipse, I'm going to stand outside in the solar eclipse and let myself be stripped of my magic. And she'll just be a nomad, she'll have no power. So, because the witches, they get their power from the sun, in essence. Sunlight and moonlight. But with the moon blocking out the sun, if you're a witch and you're outdoors, your power's stripped from you. So she makes that solemn swear. So the whole novel, and you're going through all the seasons with her, you're seeing her change. You're seeing her personality change, her desires. Some of her wants, they are changing with the season. So it's really quite an interesting journey to see as you're following Clara, because with staying as her new, tutor, he's there to help her. She's learning, and I like him because he doesn't take any of her shit either. One time, when they were getting close as friends, she's like, no, I can't let him get close to me. I can't be his friends. He'll just die. He literally just, I think he throws snowballs at her. And he's just like, you're full of shit. Like, you can't just stop living. I like saying because he does offer this counterbalance to her. He doesn't take her shit, and he gives it right back. He matches her energy. Like, oh, you're going to be a dick to me? I'm going to go ahead and be a dick to you then. Let's just nip this in the bud. And he encourages her, and he's like, you can't just hide. Because that's all she's doing. And her school headmaster, again, no one knows how to deal with her power. They think it's what's best for her if she isolates herself. And he even says, he's like, no one should isolate you. You shouldn't be isolated. And she's like, no, I'm a danger to myself and others. And he's like, no. He's like, that's what you've been taught, and no one's untaught you that. He helps her come to terms with her power. And she begins to slowly learn that her power, she can really do so much good with it. And through her previous tutor, and through his notes, and through the journal of the last Everwitch, she's really seeing that her magic is a part of herself. She shouldn't be denying this significant part of herself. She shouldn't stop living. She has to love herself. So her entire journey is all about learning to love herself and coming to terms with her power and accepting this really big, significant part of herself. And I think that resonates with a lot of readers who are going through something, who, I think a lot of us when we're growing up, we just kind of want to fit in, so kind of deny some of our weirdness. I want to say I did. In elementary school and middle school, I did. I was starting at a new school, new state. I just wanted to fit in, So I think a lot of times when we're trying to fit in or make sure that we're not so alone, we kind of start denying really big parts of ourselves. I think some of us, especially some people, especially in the LGBTQ community, they feel like they're going to lose some of the people closest to them. And you know what? It'll hurt. But if people can't love you for every aspect of who you are, then they don't deserve your love. And Clara comes to realize that she shouldn't shun this big, deep part of herself. She should learn to love it and nurture it and cherish it and respect it and just be herself. Her fear is that she's just going to hurt people. But, luckily for her, she's able to find a way out of that. And it's a really interesting thing for the story. I really do love the progression of the story. I love the evolution. I love how we're going through all of the seasons. I love the artwork to signify the seasons. I love the character dynamics. I love the characters who call her out on her shit. I love how she rises to the occasion. And I do love how she just punched this one dude in the face. That was pretty awesome. Because he deserved it. He was a dick. And I was just like, yes, you go, girl. So, it really is. It was such a beautiful story. I had an arc of it. I'm gonna buy it eventually when I have a little bit more money to spend. It was hands down such a compelling novel. 100% loved it. 100% cannot stress this enough. It's a beautifully written novel. It has such a lot of depth to it. So much depth to it. So much character growth. And I love how it deals with big issues like pollution and climate change while also focusing on the characterization of the story. It doesn't lose sight of what it's doing. It's like, Griffith herself, like, I'm going to talk about climate change, but I'm also going to talk about learning to love yourself. And she wove them together in a really perfect way that they balance each other out to make such a beautifully unique story. So, this was The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. I'm going to go ahead and give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Not quite 5. Although I'm leaning more towards, I guess 4.75. It's really good. Highly recommend it. Loved it. It was beautiful. It was good. It's a book that I got for free, that I want to go to the store and buy it. I want to buy it so I can have it on my shelf. To share it with my kids as they grow up. I think it's an important novel, not just about climate change, but about loving yourself. So on that note, please remember to support your local bookseller if you choose to purchase this book. Remember, if there is no Barnes & Noble or Books A Million nearby, you can order online on Books A Million or BarnesNoble.com. You can also order books on Bookshop.org. They will give you a list of independent bookstores close to you so that you can support them as well on Bookshop.org. If money's tight, please check out the book from your local library. Libraries are a great resource and definitely deserve all the support they can get. And I hope you all continue to support me by liking this video and subscribing to my channel. You can also become a supporter on buymeacoffee.com, where I'm purchasing one of my handmade candles. Have a great, wonderful day, and as always, happy reading.